So for many years I've been keeping a journal and a sketchbook, sometimes more for documenting projects, sometimes typical journaling, sometimes more sketching. So recently I've been looking at a few examples of very beautiful sketch journal pages, and I've been thinking about what makes them special and how I could up my game. The first thing that I realized was I needed to make a proper layout for the whole page, so I drew it with pencil and planned everything out. The second one that was very closely related was to fill in really the whole page. This was something that I realized when I looked at other sketch journal entries that I really liked, was they were really full, so I tried it here. So the numbers of the tips here don't really match the order in which I designed the page here, so you have to bear with me here. But the next tip, as you saw, was to use references for the headline fonts. This is especially useful if you're not used to draw specific headline fonts. Doesn't have much to do with the journaling itself, but I really like to use fountain pens lately more and more, and also use bottled ink. It's better for the environment, it doesn't generate so much waste, and it is much cheaper. So definitely a no-brainer if you ask me. So this is the height of the small letters, and trying to keep them very tall gives an overall fuller impression of this page. As we are talking about sketch journaling, using illustrations on the page obviously helps and is an important part. And so here I draw an illustration of the sketchbook that I recently made and that I wanted to feature in the next video, so stay tuned for that. So I feel like getting different elements on the page is an important part of this type of journaling, and so using stamps helps definitely. And another idea is to use some kind of infographics. Here it is, I used another illustration of the different parts of this journal, and I tried to turn it into some kind of an infographic with different elements and descriptions. Yeah, like I said, having different elements also comes down to using different font styles, so having different types of headlines is a good thing. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory, but using info boxes or check boxes helps to separate some of the content from the other parts, and yeah, you can give it a different color if you use color, and that's a cool effect that helps. So this is most of the page done except for the color, and yeah, using color is definitely a good tip of its own, and yeah, I think for the most part I leave you just with watching the coloring process. That's it for the main tips, but yeah, stay tuned to the end to see the final result. I think adding the color in this case helped really a lot. So enjoy it, have fun. Don't forget to let me know if you have any special tips or ideas how to improve the journal pages like this. By the way, this little watercolor palette, I built this about a year ago, and I have a video on that, so check this out if you want. So whether you're working with fountain pens like I did here, or with fine liners, something like that, yeah, try to use waterproof ink if you are planning to use watercolor in the end, otherwise it won't work so good. As we will soon see on the section where I didn't use waterproof ink. So like I already said, this whole page features a new notebook system that I've been working on. It's going to be called the paper phone, and it tries to replace at least some aspects of the smartphone and be another new iteration of the numerous different ways that I try to use my sketchbook and journals. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be the next video, probably the whole process of creating this. So here we see what happens if we don't use waterproof ink and try to color it later with watercolor, and so that's why I had to switch the plan here for these boxes and or for these headlines and make them blue boxes, and then later I used a white marker to get the headlines back. Compared to the rest of the page, I felt this was too much white space here, so I added a few boxes, colored boxes around these information parts here. So on to the finishing touches, getting a few more shadows and a little bit of depth in the color here. And also I didn't plan to have blue boxes here with white writing. I think it looks cool and is a good case for a happy accident, and so because I started with the white pen, I also used it on other parts here. That also helps, and I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't screwed up with the ink on the bottom. So that's how it all looks. Hope you like it. This was the first page that I designed in such a way, and I learned a lot. It's not perfect in all areas, I think, but It was fun, and I plan to continue experimenting with such entries. So stay tuned for that.